Inbound EDI 210 matching. We're basically enhancing our functionality for inbound 210s. So in our 710 release, we enabled inbound 210s, which are the invoice records via EDI. And so we released that in the 710 release, and now we're basically enhancing it. Previously, we were matching, and if we couldn't find a match within the system, a user would be emailed and basically notify that a match couldn't be found. And then there, it was pretty manual to have to key in the transaction. We weren't storing that XML within the system. And so what this enhancement does is actually stores that unmatched EDI payload within the system, and it presents it in an LWC so that people can kind of see all of the data and then quickly search their existing loads and invoices and match that new unmatched invoice to an existing load and create that invoice with the press of a button. So what we were doing in 710 was a lot more manual, and this captures all of that so your accounting team has it all within the system and they can quickly work through the unmatched ones each day or each week. From a EDI standpoint, if an invoice or a 210 comes in and there's like a space or a at the end of the invoice, that could throw off the matching process. And so instead of being able to accurately match that and automate it, we were just sending that email again. So this feature, capturing all that XML payload information, which has origin, destination, commodity information, and cost information, we're storing that in the system, and then once a user is able to locate the correct load, that's like, oh, okay, I as a human can read that this is load XYZ and the carrier just added an A and that didn't match. So now that will create the invoice. Instead of having to manually key in all of that XML payload information, it's all within the system and they just literally have to press the one button. So we had 2 customers that were kind of early adopters of the inbound 210s, and they took a look at it and they were like, this is great. It would be even better if we could do this. And then personally, from my previous company, I did a lot of this when I was on the operations team. So I knew the headache that this can be, and if you're in LTL, you're receiving quite a bit of inbound invoices because your load count is pretty high and your margins are a little bit lower for LTL. So being able to process these quickly is a huge saver for your operation. So this is one that I personally was like, this is super exciting, and if I had that at my old company, I would have loved it. So it was one that I kind of took on and was like, let's do this, guys. This is gonna be awesome for people that do this day to day. As far as the future, I think one of the things that we're interested about is automating it even further. So again, this is not something that we're currently roadmapped, but kind of ideas that we have is when an inbound comes in and we think there might be a fuzzy match or something that's similar. So the example I gave where there was an A at the end of the invoice. If we can get pretty close and we add a score of it's the same carrier, but the invoice number doesn't match, that would be a score 10. But say the carrier matches and there is no invoice number, that would maybe only be a 5. So people can kind of see these are the predicted and recommended matches, and then further kind of automate that process of creating a match and then creating the invoice.